Everybody, it's Dr. Joe here, and welcome to another Wealth Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a fantastic week. I certainly did. Well, I'm having anyway, and it's been a good week. And I'll give you a kind of update on what I've been up to. I went to a nice event last weekend. Took my wife and went to a play. In fact, very nice play, and so on. So that was this weekend, and then this week. It's been very relaxing, having a good time, and just living life, as they say. And so today we're going to talk about from bricks to clicks, how prop tech is reshaping single-family real estate investing. So from bricks to clicks, how property tech is reshaping single-family real estate investing is what we're going to talk about today. Many of you probably didn't know, but I'm a techie by heart, by training, really. I did a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, and then I did the MBA and the PhD as well. But I like technology, and I used to work for a large technology outfit. The first letter begins with I, and the last letter ends with M. I'll let you figure out the rest. So I like technology, and I thought it'd be different to kind of talk about the role of technology in real estate investing, especially for real estate investors like you and I, and primarily in the single family space. So we're going to kind of talk about how they call it prop tech, property technology, prop tech, and that's what that is, prop tech. How prop tech is reshaping single family real estate investing, and the starter is from bricks to clicks. Kind of gives you the idea that we're kind of transitioning from the old world to the new world with technology, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Looking forward to that. Just a little heads up for those folks. I'm going to be doing another event. Mainly focused on landlording. So we're going to call it Elevate Your Landlording Skills with Dr. Joe, and that's going to take place October the 7th. Saturday between 11 and 1 in Washington, D.C. So if you're in the D.C. area, or if you can make it to D.C. area, I think you're going to enjoy it. We're going to focus primarily on what's it called, landlording, and unveil secrets about tenant selections. We're going to talk about maximizing rental income. We're going to talk about tenant screening. We're going to talk about preventing dealing with tenant issues. We're going to talk about legal aspects of landlording. We're going to talk about maintenance. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, and how I do things as it pertains to landlording. So if you're going to be in the DC area, you may want to check this one. The last one we did a couple of weeks ago was fantastic. Great turnout. We have capacity turnout, and based on the feedback, it was really, really, everyone enjoyed it. So definitely, if you can make it October the 7th, 2023, you may want to check that out. I'll give you more information and how you can register maybe in the next few days. If you're on my email list, you should be starting receiving emails shortly. And if you're on social media, hopefully you'll be getting some information. Save the date, messages and things like that. So that's something that's going to be hanging shortly. Kudos to Femi, one of my students. Got a house under contract today in Washington, D.C., and it's I think it's a three bedrooms, one bath, or two baths, I think it is, and we're going to turn that thing into a 6-bedroom. And so you're wondering, how in the world can you do that, Dr. Joe? Well, that's what we're going to do with him, and it's in Washington. Washington is very expensive, over $500,000 homes, and at the end of the day, based on the analysis, we think we can do a burst strategy on this one, whereby he'll have some equity in the deal after the refi and the rehab. And on top of that, he's going to cash flow. And you thought it's not possible to, in this crazy market, to find deals whereby you can get equity on day one after the rehab. It's going to be over $100,000 rehab. So this is not a paint and carpet job. And from the rents that he's going to be collecting after the rehab is done and after all is said and done, he's going to leave some money in the deal. So it's not going to be a complete burr whereby he gets all his money out. But I just wanted to, share with you that it's out there. Deals are out there. It's not easy. It took us a long time to find this one, but they're out there. And I'm learning more about the new environment in terms of the Section 8. They've changed the rules around a little bit here in the DC area on Section 8, and in terms of how they pay their rents, how to determine rents, And so I'm learning quite a bit. And I think that as always, I think I'm trying to learn and trying to figure it out. So hopefully we can still participate in the program, rent to families who are looking for quality homes in quality areas. And we as landlords, we as investors can still realize the benefits of investing in real estate for long-term, wealth building, potential. But we can make money, yes, but also we can do good by making a difference in other people's lives. That's what I do. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm encouraging more people to do. I'm looking forward to working with Femi as he sets on the journey on his deal, and hopefully I can help you as well. So that's what the deal is today. So let's talk about how, from bricks to clicks, how property technology is shaping single-family real estate investing. So that's the topic of the day. And as I said before, real estate, really everything is going through a seismic shift thanks to technology. We have. Let me turn my thing off first, so you don't hear me. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, technology is shaping everything now. I mean, we got technology, we got AI is really coming to play. We got lots of apps going on. We got lots, the use of the World Wide Web. I mean, it's shaping every single aspect of our lives, and it's kind of scary, what's out there. But then again, it is what it is. So the question is, how do we leverage technology so it can make us better real estate investors, and how it can use it to get better deals. So traditionally, the old school, when I first started out many years ago, is very manually based, manual processes. You had to do manual research to find deals. I remember I used to go to the courthouse and flip through files because the internet wasn't there. And so if you want to find out an owner of a house, you had to literally go down to the courthouse, go through the public records by hand before you can figure that out. And it was just a mess. You'll take half a day out of your schedule just to find out an owner. And I remember when I used to buy houses at the auctions, you could never know the address, but you don't know anything about the house. The only way to know what the house looks like is to literally drive by it. There was no Google Maps where you could kind of scan the neighborhood and look at the properties and see what's going on. No, you had to physically get out of your house, get in a car, drive down there and check it out, knock on the door and all that kind of stuff. You couldn't even search the owners. It was just tedious. So you had to do property visits by hand or manually. That's just a lot of paperwork. This is the old days. It wasn't that long ago, to tell you the truth. So today, with the rise of technology, which is really revolutionizing this whole landscape, it's just making it easier for us real estate investors to do what we need to do in terms of locating deals, analyzing deals, renovating deals, renting single family homes, managing tenants, managing all that stuff is now easier. So in this live stream today, we're going to talk about how that is shaping real estate investing. So let's talk about how technology is using it, how we use technology for us, or how we can use technology to our advantage. So the first one, a good use of technology is, it's really technology for property discovery, searches. It's not, as I said before, many years ago, you had to kind of drive through the neighborhoods just to get some data on houses. Look for sale signs, look for houses where the grass is high, leafing through newspapers. I mean, we used to do that, classified ads. We don't need to do that anymore. Things like Zillow, the data that's available through Zillow, in terms of, that it's when you dig below the surfaces of Zillow, it's just a mountain of, data that's available to us as investors. Things like images, high resolution images, pricing history, ownership information, comprehensive data about the neighborhood, property listings. I mean, all that information is available through Zillow. Redfin also has a pretty comprehensive data, bank behind there. They have this thing called compete scores, where you can kind of estimate the likelihood of competitive bids on this particular house. And so you can then figure out exactly how much you want to pay for this house and things like that. There's a lot of historical data on properties, ownership data on properties, ownership information about the neighborhoods, ownership information about the city, the state. There's just a lot of data there that can help us, you, I, to determine whether we want to invest there or whether we don't want to invest there, and what's the characteristics. Does it make sense to buy in that neighborhood, that area, that city, that state, or not? There's just data out there through some of these platforms like Redfin and Zillow that we can use. That's just scratching the surface out there. So we can use property technology to help us streamline in our searches in terms of the deals, what to deal, do your due diligence, and things like that. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense in terms of property, analysis. Then the second thing is how technology can be used is in the area of due diligence. Somebody gives you a deal or a lead. We need a decision by tomorrow or next week or whatever it is. So it's up to you now to go out there and do some due diligence and make sure that this deal is in fact a deal. It's not just somebody trying to hawk off a deal off to you just to pick up some money and move on, and you get left holding the bag. So you have to do some kind of due diligence to make sure that this works for you. Okay. And so property technology has really elevated the ability to do property analysis. Okay. In terms of sophistication and efficiency. So what does that mean? There are websites, there are platforms like Roofstock and one called Mashvisor. I call it Mashvisor. I don't know what, it could be Mashvisor. I call it Mashvisor. These are platforms where you can really they have a lot of data, comprehensive data that will help you as part of the due diligence process. They can offer you analytics, property analytics. For example, Roofstock, they can give you detailed cash flow analysis. They can give you cap rate calculations. They can give you, they also have this thing called a certified inspectors network. So if you're looking for an inspector, you can, go in their network and find qualified, approved, inspectors who can go to your property and give you all the information about the deal, the house, and things like that. So again, as I said before, there's a Mashvisor, I think it is. They offer a lot of information and insights about a neighborhood dynamics. What's going on in terms of the education level, the crime, the median incomes. There's a lot of information associated with a particular area, and that will help you as part of the due diligence process in terms of whether you want to invest there or whether you don't. And it can help you tremendously. And there's a lot of data-driven, location-specific information out there that you don't need to go there. You can just go on their platforms and find all this information without having to jump in your car and do anything. Okay, so that's how technology can be used to help you with due diligence. Okay, every now and then, as I go through this live stream, I'm going to give examples. I'm not just going to keep it generic. I'm going to name names. Like I've mentioned Redfin, I've mentioned Zillow, I've mentioned Mashvisor, I've mentioned other things. So I'll do that throughout here. So let's have a look. I mentioned Roofstock. I mentioned what else did I mention? Mashvisor, Roofstock, Zillow, Redfin, and and so on. So let's talk about number 3, which is virtual tours. That's a good one. How technology now allows us to do a virtual tour and remote property viewing without actually going there. If you remember during COVID, where we're kind of held hostage in our homes, we couldn't go anywhere, and that's really bloomed virtual tours. And so during that time, you could literally go to a home or not go to a home. You can be at your home, and the agent or somebody will do a property virtual tour of the home, so you can see everything about the home. So the advent of virtual tours and especially 3D virtual tours and virtual reality has really transformed the way we can look at properties and without having to visually or physically jump in the car and go places. So prop tech platforms, you can give like immersive virtual tours of the house, where you can navigate and scrutinize the property. You can literally walk through the house room by room. I know I do that for my rental properties. We do videos, and then within there we have another thing called Matterport, whereby it's almost like a 3D virtual tour. You can literally spin and walk around the house, by yourself, using this sort of technology. It's kind of interesting. It's really interesting, to tell the truth. And so I do that for all my rentals. It gives people the opportunity to see my homes, and it differentiates my homes from all the others that's out there that I'm competing against. So Matterport has this technology where it gives you kind of this immersive 3D tours of a home. And so with these tours, you can experience properties in really in a very impressive, detailed manner. Okay, so you can examine anything from the room, the layout, the dimensions, the architectural details. Some of them give you like an architectural plan of the home. I don't know if you've seen some of these listings. One of the pages on the listing is like an architectural drawing of each floor. So you have the first floor, second floor, third floor. They give you a layout. All that stuff is through technology, and I know Matterport allows that technology to be there. So again, this is something that a lot of us take it for granted now, but a few years ago this was not even possible. Okay, so we're going to go to our Q&A session very shortly. So if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and I will try to get them towards the end of this session, another 10, 15 minutes from now. So line up your questions, see if you can pick my brain, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And so again, anything to do with real estate investing, buying deals, finding deals, screening tenants, landlords, contractors, we'll deal with all that during the Q&A. So get your questions together, and I'll try to answer them very shortly. So property management, how technology is used for property management. It's definitely simplified the operations for a lot of landlords and property managers, technology. So managing single family homes is now a lot more streamlined than they used to be, thanks to technology, property technology. Platforms like Buildium, Appfolio. I use for mine Rent Ready. That's another sort of property management software that's out there. There's a lot of them. There's a bunch of them out there. And we use technology for things like online rent collection, maintenance request management, tenant communications. You can give each tenant a portal so they can communicate with you their requests for like maintenance or property repairs and things like that, pay their rents. So that's how technology can be used. That's how we use technology. And these platforms allow sort of unique capabilities. For example, Appfolio provides electronic leases. So now you can sign all your documents and leases and agreements digitally. You don't have to go and meet with the tenants anymore. A lot of this stuff is online. And as I said before, you can give each tenant a portal whereby they can communicate with you directly. They can pay their rent. They can put work orders and requests in and things like that. It can provide you with detailed reports and financial reports, and also access to more deep information about your property. Whether you have a property manager managing it on your behalf, or whether you're managing for other people, or whether you're managing your own portfolio. It's just a lot of data that it can help you. And so on. I know a lot of people use QuickBooks. That's pretty good software. And but there's just a lot of apps out there that can help you, help as we manage our portfolio, especially if you're doing buy and hold. Okay, so that's number 4, which is the use of technology in property management to simplify our operations. Another one is use of technology in the rehab phase. During the renovation planning and implementation. There are a lot of these digital tools out there that a lot of us, can use to help us. And I'll give a couple of examples here. Because kind of preparing for this live stream, I did a little bit of research about what's out there and how these technologies are being used. And so when we're talking to the realm of renovation, there's a range of digital tools out there that can simplify the planning and execution of the process. So, for example, there's this, I think we're all familiar with Houzz, Houzz, and Pinterest. That's another website or, an app. They can give you a lot of endless crazy endless ideas of design considerations and inspirations. It's really fascinating. I know that sometimes if you want some ideas of what to do on the rehab, you can go on to Pinterest or Houzz, and you'll be surprised what's possible. I've used that. I look at what trends are going and get some ideas just by scouring these platforms. So Houzz, Houzz, and also with Pinterest. It's really especially for design, and when you want to kind of find out what's the latest in anything, what's the latest colors that people use, what's the latest designs for kitchen, for bathrooms, for bedrooms, what materials people are using, and you got a weird house and you want to get some ideas, you can go to Houzz and Pinterest and get some ideas there. There's other software called Sweet Homes 3D. Sweet Homes 3D. And there's another software called Planner 5D. That's Sweet Home 3D and Planner 5D. These are apps that allows you, the investor, to create almost like intricate 3D design, 3D models, and floor plans. And so if you want to sort of see what's possible for your house, or for the first level, second level, for a kitchen, for a bathroom design, you can use these platforms. They're not that complicated, whereby I can give you some pretty sophisticated design. I don't know if you've seen when you watch like HGTV sometimes, and they kind of, the guru or the host has got some ideas about a kitchen or a particular area of a house, and you could see this sort of this animation come down, and you can do it can turn around the room and things like that. That's all these planning tools that's out there, and it looks very sophisticated, but they're not that difficult to use. And so if you want some ideas, if you want to sort of do some what if scenarios, there are really, really good ways to do that. And things like Sweet Home 3D and Planner 5D, they just allow you to create these very intricate 3D models and floor plans. And that will give you some ideas of what's possible, what's not possible. Houzz, Houzz, they also have a feature whereby you can find local pros. So if you're looking for a contractor, somebody or certain tradespeople to implement these ideas, you can go on Houzz. I know my wife, she used to advertise or used to be on, I think it was Houzz, and whereby people will give her referrals or contact her and so on. So because she does real estate staging. So there are these platforms. If you're looking for certain trades, certain specialty workers, you can go there, and things like contractors, architects in your particular area, and that will help you streamline the process and also help you find qualified, quality people. That will help you from concept all the way through to completion. So that's number 5. Another way technology is being used is for investment financing, and especially online lending. There was a day where you had to go to the bank and you had to do everything manually. Those days are, I won't say it's over, but you still have to go to the bank and so on. But a lot of stuff now is done electronically, and you have lenders throughout the country that do deals that are throughout the country. So you can use technology to help you find money. There's a lot of online lending platforms out there now, especially things like crowdfunding and what we call peer-to-peer platforms like Fundrise, and another one called Lending Club. So Fundrise and Lending Club, these are peer-to-peer crowdfunding sites, which allows investors to pool their money, pool their resources with other people to fund a real estate deal. So if you don't have a lot of money, you may not be able to do a deal all by yourself. However, you can pool monies with other people, and collectively you can crowdsource, and whereby you can raise money, and investors can then do deals, and then you'll be a lender or a borrower on these particular opportunities. So Fundrise, for example, provides a diverse range of investment options from what they call e-REITs, E-R-E-I-Ts, REITs, and to sort of other opportunities as well to build a portfolio. The democratization, the kind of making it even for even what's it leveling the playing field, I suppose, of investment capital has opened up really new opportunities for smaller investors like you and I to participate in larger deals, and possibly more lucrative deals as well. So just because you have a small amount of money doesn't mean that you're locked out of some of these opportunities. I mean, I'm not an expert in this area, but I'm just sort of, sharing with you how technology allows this even to be possible, whereby a few years ago that was just not possible. If you didn't have gazillion loads of money, you couldn't do the big deals, or you can participate in big deals. But nowadays, through crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, that is now opened up to the small investors out there. Let's have a look. Number 7 is predictive analytics. We use technology for making predictions about and getting some what we call market insight. What's going on in the marketplace? Providing investors with invaluable information about markets and trends and insights. So data-driven platforms, they kind of give you a lot of information about market trends, property demand, supply and demand, rental, rental pricing dynamics. I know there's tools. I think Bigger Pockets has one, Rentometer has one, affordablehousing.com has them, whereby you can put an address in and it'll give you a breakdown of comparisons of houses in the area and pricing, and what rents you can expect to collect, the average rents, median rents in a particular area, just by typing in an address. It's really fascinating. It's really amazing what's possible just through market insights and analytics. So that's how I use it. If I got a house in a particular location and I want to know what the going rent is for that area, you can type in some basic information to the website, and it'll give you a good idea what rents are going for, and therefore you can then decide whether if I was to buy a house in this particular area, whether it would cash flow, would it make any sense or not. There's another thing called Neighborhood Scout. They provide comprehensive market insights into a particular area. Things like crime rates and things like school quality, walkability, appreciation trends, and things like that. So again, investors like you and I can use this insight and data to make decisions about what to buy, where to buy, and how much to pay for, and hopefully make some smart decisions before we jump in. So I've given you seven examples today on how property technology is being used by investors and to help them in the process of buying, finding, and analyzing and doing deals. And a lot of this stuff that I shared today was just not available, a decade ago. And God knows what's going to happen for a decade from now, with the advent of, the integration of artificial intelligence into a lot of the stuff that we do. I mean, AI is just unbelievable. I don't know if you guys are using, if you're familiar with AI and some of these, platforms like ChatGPT and Bard and things like that. I mean, it's just amazing what's out there. It's exciting, but it's a little scary as well. I mean, it's here, and we have to use it if we want to streamline what we do. It just allows you so much to be able to do so much that was just not possible a few years ago. And if you're smart about it, it can give you a differential advantage against your competition. So today we covered about how property, technology is used in the property discovery, and to help us research in terms of it can help us during the due diligence process just by analyzing data, a particular area, particular houses, and so forth. We talked about virtual tours, remote viewing of properties, and how technology is used for that. We talked about property management, how technology is being used in property management and different applications there. We talked about renovations and especially some of these digital tools to help us during that rehab process and creating designs and plans and 3D models and things like that. We talked about how technology can be used for online lending, crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, and fractional investments and things like that. Then we also talked about predictive analytics in terms of market insights and what's going on in a particular area, what neighborhood, and should we buy here or not buy here, do or don't do, and things like that. So as you can see, property technology is really reshaping the landscape for investors in the single family domain. It's no longer just for office buildings or mega multi-family commercial operations. No, this is down to the level of single families where I play in, where you play in. And so we can use technology savvily for things like property discovery, due diligence, enhancing our due diligence process, streamlining property management, providing invaluable market insights, and really, revolutionizing the the renovation process in terms of what's possible. So it's really property technology is really, I think, it's indispensable tools as we move along, and as technology continues to evolve. I mean, it's clear to me anyway that real estate investment landscape will continue to change and be reshaped by the almost transformational power of property technology, prop tech. So we got to embrace it. It is what it is. It's, the genie is out of the bottle. We can't put it back. So now, as savvy investors, we have to leverage and use this technology to differentiate ourselves, give us competitive advantage over other people. Otherwise, those other people will use it against you, and because they can accomplish so much more with new technology that you can't do the old way. And so if you're not careful, you'll be left behind in the dust. So let's embrace this technology to help us be smarter. We can help us make more better informed decisions and also unlock the full potential of single family real estate investments. So that, my friends, is it for today. And again, just I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to do an event, Elevate Your Landlording Skills with Dr. Joe. That's going to be on October the 7th. Save that date. It's a Saturday. And it's going to be at one of my properties in Washington, D.C. It's all about landlording. And we're going to do a deep dive, actionable things that you can do. Why do I get 15, 20-year tenants when everybody else gets 1 or 2 year tenants? Why is that? That is not by crossing my fingers. That is by savvy systems and implementation. That's what we're going to cover. Why do I do what I do as a landlord? Why is my average tenant staying 7 years? Where everybody else, the average is, 1 or 2 years. Why is that? Why do I focus so much of my time and attention on minimizing turnover? Why is that? That's what we're going to go through, how to find tenants, screen tenants, managing tenants, and all those systems, the right mindset, finding the right tenant, finding the right properties, and also implementing the right systems. That's what we're going to cover about on October the 7th. So save that date, and more information about how you can register. And we do have a sponsor for the event. So we're going to have some refreshments, and it's going to be some nice catered refreshments and some nice food and drinks. So hopefully I will see you October the 7th. So let's go down to Ask Dr. Joe. So if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box, and we are going to get to them shortly. So let's have a look. What do we have today? DeLando, DeLeon. Hello, DeLando. Hope you're doing well, DeLando, from Baltimore. And how are things in sunny Baltimore? I do not invest in Baltimore. I don't own anything there. So I'll be curious to know what your experiences are if you buy anything in Baltimore. DeLanda, drop me a line, let me know what you buy in Baltimore, why you invest in Baltimore and things like that. Let's say, who else is here? B. Francis from South Jersey. Hello, B. And hope all is well with you. And again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box, and I will do the best I can to answer them for you. So pick my brain, and let's see what we can do. Okay, Marlon. Hey, I hope you're doing well, Marlon. I haven't spoken to you in a little while. Hope things are going well with your properties. And keep us posted. Let me know what's up. And what is your take on virtual staging versus real staging? Virtual staging. Um, that is when you literally have a computer. They stage the home for you, and so on the listing, what you see is how the house could be from a technology perspective. So you can see how a room is laid out, where the couch would be, the TV would be. That's it. Looks good on the listing. The problem is that at some point you're going to go to the house, and when you go to the house, and you go there, and it's empty. And so what you saw on the listing versus what's actually there is two different things. And to me, people buy based on emotions, and most people buy houses by visiting the property. So you've got to get that emotional pull. And I believe that virtual staging gives you that curiosity on the listing, but eventually when you get to the house and there's nothing there, so you kind of like a little downer. Whereas a staging, real staging, you essentially are staging the house in its best possible light. So when people go to the home, there's that emotional connection with them. And I know a lot of realtors, about a year or 2 years, especially during the COVID, that became pretty hot, but I don't think it's as hot as it used to be. People still like to stage, but I think there's a role for everything. And so I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I think some people prefer it. It's definitely cheaper. But at least for my wife, anyway, she still does quite a lot of staging. She's doing one tomorrow, and so on. So people, it's each to their own, really. But it's a good question, though. If your budget is tight, maybe you do virtual staging. It's definitely cheaper, but I think that nothing beats the real staging, where people can see for themselves what's going on. Okay, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box. I will try to get to them as soon as possible. Hello from Houston. Hey, DCC, how you doing? Fred, hope all is well down in Houston. Hopefully, I'll see you October the 7th at the event here in Washington. I know you flew in all the way from Houston last time, and we're going to try to do some virtual ones as well. Not this one. We're going to try maybe a virtual live stream of the event, so that way people who aren't in the DC area can still be able to get the benefits of that. Okay, Dow 2, how you doing? Whenever you do the virtual tour, is it your personal website? I have a website, but I'm not sure I have enough memory for a video. No, what I do, Dow 2, is that I have a photographer, and the photographer or videographer will come to the house and do a walkthrough of the house. They bring their cameras and do a virtual tour, a video of the home, and then they'll take the photographs of the home, and then some of them have these Matterport cameras. It's like a specialized camera that allows you to create 3D. So I don't know if you've seen those things where you can literally click a button and you can spin the mouse around or the cursor around, so you can get different perspective, different views of the same room. And so you can literally walk through the entire house, mouse click by mouse click. So the videographer is the one that does that. I think my guy, it's not that expensive, really. $300-400, and you'll get the photographs, you get the video, you get the 3D virtual tour. And then what I do is he gives us a link to a website where, so if I have a listing, or if I have a house to rent, I would include in my marketing a link to that website where people can view the video, they can view the photographs, they can do the 3D tour and things like that. So you don't need much memory on your computer, because there's a website that hosts all that information. And all you need to do is just to provide a link to that website where people can view everything. Now, if you want to do it yourself, i.e., you do the 3D tour yourself, then maybe you'll need a different type of camera. I'm not too sure if an iPhone and those kind of things can do that. It probably can, but I just don't want to get involved with doing that by myself. So I'd rather just outsource it to a professional and who has the right equipment. They know what they're doing, and you get a much more professional product. And it's really not that expensive. My thing is that most people get introduced to your house through a website, whether it be the MLS, whether it be Zillow, whether it be through, these other platforms. That's how they see your house for the first time. And first impressions is very, very important. As I say, first impressions is sometimes the lasting impression. So I want to provide photographs that are high quality and that gives people an idea what my property is like, but also sets the tone of the relationship. It kind of lets it know. I mean, if you've seen some listings where it's just crappy photographs, very dark or very blurry, it's just, to me, it's not enticing. So I just want to do the right thing and just outsource the whole thing. But it's a good question though. I don't think you need equipment. If you outsource it, you definitely don't. But if you want to do it yourself, you probably do need some decent equipment. Akmai, I hope you're doing well. What are good places to invest in and around the DMV? Oh, that's a good question. I think everywhere in the DMV is a good place. There are pros and cons to each area, of course. The DC area is not cheap, unfortunately, so it's quite expensive. But my thing is that it's always expensive. It's expensive when I first started. It's expensive 20 years ago. It's expensive 10 years ago. It's expensive today. And I can be 99% sure in 10 years from now, you'll be saying, my goodness, if only I bought in 2023 when it was, quote, cheap. That's just how it shakes out. That's just how it is. So the issue then becomes, how do you get into the game in this, given where you are, given the realities of where things are? That's the challenge. And because if you take a long-term view, it really doesn't matter because prices tend to appreciate. It's just that you got to be able to survive that long-term area and that delta period. And that's the challenge. That's the hard part. And that's where landlording comes in, and having the right systems, buying the right properties, and getting the right tenants, which is what we're going to discuss on October the 7th. But good places, I think it's all different. I mean, it's up to you, Akmai. I like Washington, D.C. I do a lot of Section 8s. There's a wide pool of Section 8 tenants in Washington. And there's a lot of good families in Washington who are looking for a nice home in a nice area. I cater to that group. I call that Tier 1 tenants. And, I've got properties in Maryland as well, Prince George's County and Montgomery County. So, I have properties in the DMV. And I think everywhere is good, especially if you hold it for at least 5 to 10 years. It really doesn't matter. I think you can't lose. Well, you can lose. But history tells us that over time, prices in this area tends to appreciate and so on. So there aren't too many bad areas anymore. Even Washington, D.C., I mean, it's been rapidly changing. It's almost ridiculous, some of these neighborhood transformations that's taken place. So I think there are a lot of good areas. There aren't a lot of bad areas. I would speak to a real estate agent, or maybe the property manager, or maybe inspectors, people who've got their boots on the ground, and that'll give you an idea of where they suggest that you buy and so on. Good question, though. Again, if you've got some questions, put in the chat box. I will try to get to them. We've got a few more minutes left. And so put them in and so on. This is a question about Matterport videos. I was considering purchasing a camera. Thank you. Now too. I don't know how much those cameras cost. I don't have one, and I've never used one. I've got the result. I use the results of the cameras, which is these wonderful Matterport videos. So I think you can do a side hustle. If you buy a camera, I would suggest that you maybe try and do it for other people. That way you can sort of get some money back on that expense. But I like the results of those videos. Those shots. It's really nice where you can walk through a house, almost like a 3D view, and you have total control of the view. and but no, I don't have those cameras, and I just work with people that do. But good for you if you want to invest in that. I'm not a videographer. I'm an investor, and so I'd rather stay focused on what I'm good at and what I like to do, which is real estate investing, not so much operating cameras. There are other people out there who love that kind of stuff, and they're really good at it. And to me, it just makes more sense for me to partner with them or to leverage their expertise when I need it, and so on. Okay, let's have a look. Again, you got some questions, put them in the chat box. I'll get to them as soon as possible. I got a few more minutes left, so let's see if we can wrap it up a little early today. But if you got some questions, put it out there, and I'll definitely answer them for you. Pick my brain. Take advantage of that. It's not very often you get this opportunity. Have you seen any good drive-in for deals tools that handle, quote, 1, saving the location of the home, 2, ascertaining the owner, skip tracing, and 3, mailing them an offer or communications? Again, I'm not a wholesaler. I'm not a bird dog. I don't do that. There are people out there, that's what they do. They're wholesalers, they're bird dogs. A wholesaler is somebody that finds deals, locks them up, and then assigns a contract to an end buyer. A bird dog is someone that finds a lead, and they don't usually necessarily put it under contract. They just find a lead, and then they turn that lead onto somebody else, and for a fee. So I'm really not an expert on this one, DCC, in terms of what are some of the good tools out there for driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is essentially what it means is that you're driving around looking for certain signs of properties, whether it could be high grass, it could be housing in disrepair. And then once you've seen those things or those properties, then you do the research to, as he says in number 2, do some research to find out who actually owns these houses. And so do what we call skip tracing to find out the owner information. And then once you know who the owner is, then you have to communicate with them and hopefully contact them, and then hopefully work out a deal with the owner. So I know there are definitely skip tracing tools out there. I remember when I listened to Bigger Pockets, there was a couple of companies that advertise products out there. So I think it's worthwhile to do a Google search and find out what are some of the current sort of driving for dollars type softwares out there. I'm sure there's quite a few out there. You can go to some of these forums or do a Google search. I'm sure you'll find some sort of reviews of different applications out there. But I just personally, that's not what I do. One thing I've learned is that I can't do everything, and I don't want to do it. There's certain things I enjoy, and certain things I just don't enjoy anymore. So I like to focus on what I enjoy, what I like doing, and then work with other people who have skill sets in those areas where I'm weak on, or areas where I'm just not interested in doing. So the case in point would be driving for dollars. I'm not, there's people out there who enjoy that. There's people out there that have the time for that. I don't particularly enjoy it. I don't particularly have the time. So I'd rather work with those people who enjoy it and have the time, and then pay them when they bring a deal or a lead to me, rather than me taking time out of my day to do that kind of stuff. And then I've only got so many hours in the day. If I do A, it means that I can't do B. And at some point, I realized that I'm good at A, and therefore I shouldn't be doing B. And but I should partner with people that are good at B. I don't hang drywall. I don't do plumbing. I'm not good at it. But there are plumbers out there. There are some drywall folks out there who are really good at that, and they love it. I'd rather work with them because it takes them an hour to do plumbing or drywall. If I was to do it, it'd probably take me a day, and it'll probably look not too good. So I'd rather just not deal with that. So specialization, that's a very, very good topic maybe it's a topic I could talk about in one of these days. Is that you can't be a jack of all trades. At some point, you have to be a master of one. Um, Also, I want to give a little shout out. There's a podcast that I'm really, really into now. It's called Founders Podcast. It's really good, and I think I mentioned it before. It's a really good. It's really good. I mean, I listen to it every day, and I've been listening to it every day for the last several months. See if I can give you more information about it. I'm not paid by them, so you know, so it's no. I haven't been told to say anything about them. It's just really good. Um, it's called Founders Podcast, and there's a guy, I forgot his name now, who you know who hosts that podcast. It's David Senra. Yeah, Founders Podcast. I was led into it by one of my students who told me about it, and ever since then I've just been listening to it. I don't even listen to Bigger Pockets anymore. I listen to this thing all the time. It's just essentially what it is that his saying is that history. People think that history repeats itself. Not really, because history doesn't usually repeat itself, but people tend to repeat themselves. People's actions tend to repeat. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, there's a history of entrepreneurs for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so you'll find that, yes, the times were different, but there's a lot of similarities between an entrepreneur. You can learn so much from people like people that paved the way. Whether it would be the great titans that we're all familiar with, like Rockefeller, Henry Ford, and all those people. Even people like Kobe Bryant. I mean, he did a podcast on him. I mean, the guy Kobe. I mean, I'm not a really basketball guy, but when I was listening to they wrote a book about him. I mean, the guy is amazing, Kobe. His work ethic was just unbelievable, and I just didn't know that about him. It's very, very inspiring. People like Michael Jordan, people like Phil Knight of Nike, people like I was listening to the one today. It was this guy, Kayak, the website, the travel website. I mean, the guy who did that. I mean, it's just amazing, the stories. I mean, at some point, they all started off just like you and I, with nothing. Okay, and I just find it fascinating to learn their journey. How could somebody who started off with nothing, okay, they didn't start with a silver spoon in them. How is it that they got to where they were? What were the struggles that they had to go through, the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs? A lot of that stuff that they had to go through, we all go through it. And that's what I find so fascinating, is that you can learn from those people. Even you can learn things like from Henry Ford. I mean, he started off with nothing, and at one point he became one of the richest men in America. I mean, it's the journey. People like Edison, and it's just I just find it so fascinating, and because people's stories are very, very similar. And you think you got challenges, you think you got problems. There are people out there who've had problems 1,000 times greater than yours. They overcome it, and you learn about what they did, what's their methodology, their mindset, setbacks that they had to overcome. I mean, it's just to me, it's very inspiring, very inspirational. And so I listen to that. So it's called Founders Podcast. Check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are. Again, I'm not being paid by them. I just listen to it. That's all I listen to nowadays. Anyway, without that said and done, I mean, hopefully this is interesting. Again, if you got some questions, put it down in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. And the other thing I'm going to say is that October the 7th, we're going to have an Elevate Your Landlording Skills event here in Washington, D.C. at one of my properties. So you want to, I'll start marketing that next week, and I'll give you the links where you can sign up and you can register and so on. So with that said and done, my friend, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. And hopefully I will see you next Wednesday at another Wealth Wednesday. And don't forget to save the date, October the 7th at between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. in Washington, D.C. All about landlording. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend. Hope you have a good day. And congratulations to Femi. The contract's on his house. And looking forward to working with you on that one. Turning a 3-bedroom into a 6-bedroom. And hopefully, start his journey as well. And if I can help anybody on their real estate journey, please let me know. And we're going to have this other thing called Ask Dr. Joe, where if you want to, I'm offering 15 minutes free one-on-ones. And we're in the process of putting that stuff together. And so if you want a free 15 minutes with me, we're going to be able to do that. And I will offer paid consulting. So if you want 30 minutes or an hour of my time, I'm going to put a mechanism in place where you can do that. So if you want some one-on-one where we can deep dive into a particular challenge, a particular problem, situation that you're encountering, then we can also have the pieces for that as well. So these are some of the things that we're putting up in the pipeline. A lot of exciting things going on. And but Wealth Wednesdays will always be free. So if you want questions that you want to post to me, you can always go to Wealth Wednesdays, and I'll be more than happy to answer them there. But sometimes there's just not enough time in Wealth Wednesdays. You want more one-on-one time with me, and it looks like we're going to have that feature available very shortly. It's going to be called Ask Dr. Joe. With that said, my friends, I will see you next Wednesday. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye for now.